Welcome back. The week ahead continues. As always, we delve into what we can expect from here at the SABC. On the political front, we take a look at what we have in store for you. For this, we're going to be joined by SABC News Political Ntlantla Kgatlhane. Ntlantla, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I don't know where to start because we obviously have a lot, and I know the diary's full. But in view of the recent unfoldings, let's look at the Judicial Commission of Inquiry that has been set up. Talk to us about the developments on that front. So aims to instill public trust. At the end of the day, we're trying to balance respect for the rule of law, but we're also seeing political expedients coming through, right? Getting closer to local government elections. There's a succession plan for the African National Congress, but also just the government of national unity and that arrangement, the volatility, the gaps, the fragmentation that's also emerging on that front. Help us understand it further.
Well, thank you so much indeed. Quite interestingly this week, but I guess South Africans knew that 2 weeks ago when Mkhwanazi came out and made allegations that other political parties, the opposition will take advantage of that. We saw this week MK party painting the streets of the capital green on a march to the Union Building to hand over a memorandum, and amongst their demands was that the president must step down. Also, they wanted Mkhwanazi, Senzo Mchunu, to be fired immediately. And also they said that just like the president of the party, Jacob Zuma, could face the law, they want everybody to be treated the same. They also are calling for an immediate arrest of every person that was implicated by Mkhwanazi last week. Another issue that you spoke on that South African keeps an interesting eye on would be the GNU, of course. That since its inception, a lot has been said about it. That the stability, but we saw a lot happening there. Speak to the ANC, they would say it's stable. PA, Patriotic Alliance, also saying that it's stable, but later on we'd hear the ANC saying that if DA wants to get out, they must leave. And South Africans want to know this. And we also know that amongst their reasons, the Democratic Alliance that they were complaining about would be, that there's lack of consultation in this form of government. But the ANC is standing firm there, saying that if you want to leave, the door is open.
Yeah, well, more questions than answers. And I certainly know that's going to top the agenda for you guys. Who knows what else is going to emerge from here too. But I think another big story that's obviously emerging is how SABC has been covering all of this. Just looking at this week alone, but we extended to 75 years of broadcasting, right? So that's a public mandate. Talk to us about some of the highs and lows emerging on the political front. What stands out for you as we reflect as well?
Well, I guess for many South Africans will be just the SABC being there from, especially 1994.
Yes.
If you remember the first democratic elections when the ANC took power, what has been developing, the second president, the third, the journey of the ANC in this democratic dispensation the last 30 years. In 1994, the ANC coming out, very strong. And throughout all these decades now, the power just falling. We witness something that, just for a lack of a better word, weird when the ANC failed to get majority and the SABC was there. Even, in 1994, during the unbanning of, political parties, the death of Chris Hani, when, Nelson Mandela took the stand and a stage there and just calling on South Africa to not despair despite them losing a very critical person in our country, saying that the country must come down, they must not lose focus. The SABC was there to broadcast that message, that talking to the role of the SABC as an informative tool that was used to foster democracy. So 70 years, a remarkable milestone.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if we just look at dynamics unfolding now, oftentimes the microcosm of what's happening in the country, the macro is reflected here in this microcosm. And so there's a lot that we can expect as well on that front. Personally for you, what stood out? You've been here, you're a senior reporter as well. We were just in the corridors reflecting on lie and rest. There's obviously been highs in terms of the sporting action that's managed to unite us. The challenges with the corruption, the allegations as well that's coming to the fore. Now, I wonder, as you're covering all of this, what gives you hope when you explore, you come, you serve? What's that? What keeps you going?
I mean, the role of SABC itself in terms of, sharing and imparting information is educational role. I mean, but the most one that, sticks to one is that informative one. When one was young, I didn't even vote in 1994, but you go to our archive, you see all that. Each and every president to date, their speeches, dynamics of politics, that have taken place till today, been covered by the SABC. Always there, those service delivery stories, those voices that are left out also, included by the SABC. So it's a quite remarkable, role that they play. I mean, we're talking about politics. You look at this week alone. You guys just spoke with Sophie Mokoena, talking about, one of the big things that are going to be happening this week, the liberation movement. That's going to be taking place this week. Quite, remarkable, especially on the backdrop of, a lot of pundits that have been, talking throughout the years, talking about the role of, a liberation movement, saying that if you look at their role now, they're just becoming more relevant and more irrelevant. And also, we also had, during a press briefing this week, it was on Monday and Tuesday, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula also alluding to that, saying that they will have that engagement with peers in terms of liberation movement. Also, what the party would stand for with to this Mkhwanazi issue, saying that they applaud the president for creating that mechanism where investigations can take place, and also questions were asked to the ANC, why not act? Why is he not stepping aside? And also we heard Fikile Mbalula saying that you can't just step aside. Rather, investigation has to take place. There are certain processes that have to take place, and only then, if in court or there's something that it's concrete that they've found about you and they've proved it, then you can step aside. Another issue that we look forward to is obviously the study of the GNU. I mean, you can't move your eyes from that one. Regards to that one, you can just lose. The third one would be the EFF, a breakaway party from the ANC, also celebrating a milestone in Khayelitsha this year, marking 12 years since it was established.
I actually want to pick up on some of the points that you've spoken about. There has been that a age-old debate about liberation movements and the ability of the policy stances that's also coming to the fore, given being highlighted the litmus test for our constitution and as well through this. But I think also just looking at the fragmentation of the opposition, I mean, that's something that we've seen. Many more parties, even now, we saw Magashule addressing the media early on in the briefing. You can see Floyd Chivambu also being, through their consultation, but outlining possibly what those next steps as well look like. Questioning whether, this fragmentation is beneficial for Democratic Project and its impact as well on SA Inc. at large. How trained from a political standpoint?
Time is a test of time in politics. A lot can happen. You just spoke about Magashule. Who would have thought in a democratic dispensation you'd see such a lot of breakaway parties from the ANC? You can talk about the DM, you can about COPE, even though it's no longer there, EFF, and now recently MK, being visible. There's just a lot. You can't just put your eyes off it. You'll wake up and you have a different count one day.
Absolutely. If you blink too long, you might miss something. Ntlantla, I know that I need to let you go. Obviously monitoring some developing stories there. But thank you for your time at this hour. Senior political reporter Ntlantla Kgatlhane, they're joining us to chat about what we can expect on the political front. Also some of the dynamic unfolding. The SABC celebrating 75 years of new, reflecting some of the highs and lows throughout that tenure, or his tenure at least, yeah.